Grandma barely knew what she was signing. That money was practically ours anyway. They laughed when they said it. What they didn't know was I had already printed the confession. My grandmother smelled like cinnamon and old books. Her kitchen table had a small crack down the center. She used to run her finger along it while thinking. That table raised half our family, including me. When my mother died, Grandma stepped in quietly. No speeches, no pity, just warm soup in a small envelope every birthday. Inside was always $20, sometimes a note. Keep building your life. She believed in small discipline. Pay bills early, return borrowed tools, never take what isn't yours. During her last year, I slept on her couch. Cancer drains a house of noise. The oxygen machine hummed at night. Pill bottles clicked on the counter. The hallway smelled like antiseptic and peppermint tea. I paid $6,400 for a wheelchair ramp. Never told anyone. My cousins visited twice that year, once for Thanksgiving, once for paperwork. They spoke in soft legal words near her bedroom door. Estate planning, just routine. Grandma trusted them. She signed things slowly. Her hand shook, but she smiled afterward. Family keeps things simple, she told me. The will was supposed to distribute $187,000 evenly between 4 grandchildren. Fair. Quiet. Grandma liked fairness. She died on a Tuesday morning. Rain against the windows. The house felt hollow. 2 weeks later, the will reading happened. A small conference room, cheap carpet. My cousins smiled a lot. Too much. That was the first crack. The lawyer cleared his throat, then read numbers that didn't add up. My share? $0. The room smelled like stale coffee. My cousins avoided eye contact, and something settled quietly inside me. Not anger, a calculation. I didn't say it out loud, but the vow formed anyway. Truth would return, eventually. 6 months passed. Life looked smaller from the outside. I still drove my rusted Honda, still wore the same watch, still rented the same one-bedroom apartment. People assumed nothing had changed. What they didn't know was I had stopped sleeping early. Nights became research, estate law, property records, signature archives. Grandma had signed 12 documents in her final month. 3 looked different. The T in her name curved wrong. A tiny detail, but signatures don't lie. I contacted a handwriting examiner. Quietly. $1,200 consultation fee. Worth every dollar. Then came bank statements. Transfers dated 3 days before she died. $93,500 to one cousin, $93,500 to another. Convenient symmetry, almost elegant. Too elegant. I built a file, tab by tab, dates, screenshots, witness notes. Meanwhile, my life improved, slowly. A consulting contract paid well, then another. Within a year, my income tripled. No one noticed. I didn't post online. I didn't brag. The Honda stayed. Old clothes stayed. People underestimate the quiet person. That's useful. Sometimes I visited Grandma's grave. I cleaned the stone, replaced the flowers, and updated her silently. Still working on it. What they didn't know was the trap was already built. All I needed was timing. The family reunion came the following summer. Same backyard, same folding chairs. My cousins ran the grill. Loud, confident. Successful thieves often are. I arrived with a thin folder. Gray, unremarkable. During dessert, I placed it on the table. No announcement, just a small slide across the wood. My cousin Mark opened it first. Inside sat a printed bank transfer, highlighted in yellow. His face changed slowly, like someone lowering the lights. "What is this?" he asked. His voice tried to sound amused, failed. I spoke calmly. "That's the day Grandma supposedly changed the will." Silence spread across the table. Someone's kid laughed in the distance. Mark's sister leaned closer. She flipped the page. Second document. Handwriting analysis. Highlighted phrases. Signature inconsistent with natural writing pattern. Her lips tightened. I kept my voice steady. No accusations, just information. Their father stared at the documents. His jaw shifted once. "What exactly are you implying?" Mark asked. A good question. I smiled politely, not wide, just enough, and closed the folder. What they didn't know was that wasn't even the real problem. The second discovery happened by accident. A neighbor mentioned it, an old woman named Linda. She used to bring Grandma soup. During one visit, she said something strange. "Your grandmother cried after the insurance meeting." Insurance meeting? That phrase stuck. I checked county filings, then insurance registries. There it was. A life insurance policy. $400,000. Beneficiary originally listed as Estate of Margaret Wilson. 3 weeks before her death, it changed to Mark. One signature, one date, same crooked T. Forgery stacked on top of theft. I printed that document too. When I showed it to Mark privately, he shrugged. "Grandma wanted me to handle things," he said. His voice carried that casual entitlement, like someone explaining borrowed lawn equipment. I nodded slowly, then opened another page, tax filings. Insurance payouts require reporting. His hadn't been reported. His smile disappeared. Numbers are stubborn. "What do you want?" he asked. I answered quietly. Truth tends to travel eventually. He swallowed. But the real question remained. How far would it travel? Phase 1 started with sunlight. Exposure works better in daylight. I created a simple document, timeline format. No opinions, just dates, transfers, signatures, insurance changes. Then I sent it to 3 people. Our family lawyer, Grandma's nurse, and Linda. The nurse replied first. Short message. "I always suspected something." Validation matters, especially from neutral witnesses. What they didn't know was Phase 2 had already begun. My estate attorney filed a formal inquiry, forgery investigation, financial recovery claim. The letter arrived at Mark's house on a Monday morning, certified mail. His wife opened it. Neighbors noticed the shouting. Within days, stress began to show. Mark stopped posting online. His sister canceled a charity board meeting. Then the church elder called me, carefully, respectfully. "We're reviewing some concerns," he said. Truth travels fast in tight communities. My lawyer documented everything, every conversation, every message. One afternoon, Linda told me something else. Mark had visited her house, asked questions, panicked questions. That's the moment I knew the pressure worked. People unravel slowly, like threads pulled from a sweater. 2 weeks later, I scheduled a meeting. Conference room, neutral ground. My attorney placed a document on the table. Itemized, clear. Stolen inheritance, $187,000. Insurance fraud exposure, $400,000. Legal recovery costs, $18,200. Total liability, $605,200. Mark stared at the page. Sweat gathered near his collar. "What do you want?" he finally said. Same question, different tone. My lawyer slid another paper forward, a confession. signed acknowledgement of forged documents, repayment agreement, public apology to the estate. Or we file everything: district attorney, insurance fraud division, possible criminal charges. My cousin looked like someone watching their house burn. Quiet, helpless. "What do you want?" he asked again. I leaned back, calm, measured. "I collect debts," I said, "not arguments." Then I stood and left the room. The collapse started with a mistake. Mark tried damage control. He sent a long message to the extended family group chat, meant to defend himself, explain things, but he attached the wrong file. My timeline document, all 30 pages. The chat exploded. Screenshots spread. An aunt forwarded it to church leadership. A cousin posted vague comments online. Within days, his business partner called me. Quiet conversation, careful questions. Clients don't like fraud attached to their accountant. 2 contracts vanished. His sister's nonprofit board asked for her resignation. Insurance companies requested clarification. Mark stopped answering calls. The irony felt almost mathematical. The man who stole quietly now faced noise everywhere. What they didn't know was I had already moved on mentally. Justice doesn't require attendance. Our final meeting happened at Grandma's grave. Late afternoon. Wind moved through the trees. Mark looked smaller, like someone who hadn't slept. "I'm sorry," he said. The words felt thin. He held the signed repayment agreement, first installment already transferred. "Can we start over?" he asked. I studied the stone. Grandma's name carved neatly, dates beneath it. Family used to mean something simple to her. I handed Mark a small envelope. Inside was Grandma's last birthday note to me. He looked confused. "Why give me this?" he asked. I shook my head. "That note was about honesty," I said. Then I paused, long enough for the wind to pass. Some lessons arrive late. I turned and walked down the gravel path. No reason to look back. I don't visit crime scenes. A year later, life feels quieter. I moved into a high-rise apartment downtown. Large windows, morning light everywhere. My daughter visits every weekend. She likes watching the city lights. Sometimes we bake cinnamon cookies. Grandma would appreciate that. What they didn't know was the money mattered less than the balance. Truth has weight. Once restored, the air feels different. Last week, my daughter asked about the framed photo on my desk. Grandma smiling at that cracked kitchen table. I told her a simple sentence. Your great-grandmother believed honesty builds stronger homes. Outside, traffic hums softly. My banking app shows the final repayment cleared. I close the laptop, pour hot cocoa. My daughter laughs at something on TV, and peace settles into the room. Revenge burns fast. Freedom lasts longer.